Hello all, welcome back. So today in this video we are going to see some efficient ways to access GCS bucket from a GCP VM. So GCS provide a very simple and efficient way to store access data from anywhere. So we can integrate this GCS with any of the Google Cloud services very easily. So with a combination of GCP VM, GCS can be used to store, retrieve and share data cost effectively. So we can either use a GS util or we can mount this GCS bucket as a file system on a GCP VM. So in this video we'll see how to access GCS bucket from GCP VM, how we can access files from GCS bucket, how we can read files, how we can write files into the GCS bucket from GCP VM with a external IP. Then again we'll see how to access the GCS bucket from private GCP VM. So suppose if VM don't have any public IP, then how we can access this GCS bucket, what additional configuration we need. So that also we'll cover in this video. And along with this, we'll see how we can mount a GCS bucket as a file system on our GCP VM. Okay, so we'll see all these three options. So I'll go to my cloud console, I'll create one VM and we'll try to access a GCS bucket already available in my Google Cloud project. So let's go to cloud console now. So I am in my cloud console and here I have one bucket already created and it is having some sample files, and I want to access these files or I want to upload new files to this storage bucket. So let's go and quickly create a default compute VM. So I will not be using the default VPC. I have created one VPC application VPC and with the US Central 1 subnet, and I will be creating my VM instance within that VPC network. So I'll create it. So I will be creating it using a default service account. So why I'm specifying it, I'll show you that also, because it matters whenever you are accessing your Google Cloud Storage bucket. Two things matter for service account. So for now I am using a default service account. I am not changing any default configuration for service account. So I'll just give the name GCS demo to my VM instance and I'll only select. So here you could see two things. Remember, here I am using a compute engine default service account, and access scope I am using a default access scope. So let's select a network. So I want to use application VPC I have created, and here I am using external IP as well for first demo. Okay, so I'll simply create my VM now. Okay, my VM is created. Let me log in into the VM. So as it is having external IP, I won't face any issue to log in. I already created a required firewall rule for my VM. Okay, I'm logged in now. Now simply I have to use a GS util. So first what I will do, I will use a GS util and list out all the storage buckets available in my project. So as it is using the default service account, I can see the default configuration as well. So let me use GS util ls. Okay, so it should list out all the storage bucket in my project. Okay, so all these storage buckets available in my project. So if I go here and show you the buckets, so these are 4 buckets available which displayed in output. Now I want to access the files in this bucket, so I will use GS util ls. Okay, I missed spelling. Okay, so these are all files available inside my this test bucket. Now I want to copy one of the files to my existing. So let me show. Currently there are no files, so I will use GS util cp and I will copy this file to the current directory. Okay, it copied. Let me see. So this file 1 CSV is copied to my compute engine, so I can easily access these files from the storage bucket, but it is having only read access. I cannot write into the storage bucket. I'll show you how. So let me rename this file 1 dot csv to file 4 dot csv. Okay, and now let me try to copy it to the storage bucket. gsutil cp file 4 csv, and I'll just give this bucket path, so it will give us a access denied error. So let's see. Okay, access denied exception. Why? Because whenever we are using the default service account, it will check for two things. So not only default, whenever we are using a compute engine VM to access a storage bucket, it will check for two things. One, a role assigned to your service account, and second, access scope assigned to your service account. So as I am using a default service account, it is already having editor role, so it doesn't matter. So only thing limiting our access to write is the scope. So we'll see what is the scope for our default service account. So open your VM and just find service account. Okay, so here I can see service account and IP access scope default, but I want to see what is this default, what access it provide for cloud storage bucket. Then go to show details. Okay, now go to cloud storage, where I can see the cloud storage. Yeah, here. So storage, it is having a read only access. We need a full access or a read write access. So how we can change? If I try to change, it won't allow me now. So we have to stop our VM and then we have to change it. So I'll stop my virtual machine and then I will edit it. Okay. Instance is stopped. Let's edit it. It should allow us to edit now. I'll just again go to this service account. Okay, now I'll go to set access for each API, or you can give full access, but I will use granular access, so I'll go to set access for each API, and for storage I will give a full access. So storage, I have a read only, write only, read write and full, so I will give full access and I will save it, and again I'll start my VM and I'll try to write file to my storage bucket again. Okay, and now I'll start my VM. Okay, and let me show you here, there is no file named file4.csv. Okay, so here you will see file 1, file 2, there is no file4.csv, so I will be uploading file4.csv from my compute instance. So let me try to log in again. Okay, now let me see if we have file4.csv, and let me try to upload file again. Earlier it gave access denied error. Let me try to upload. Okay, it's still giving access denied. Let's wait for a few minutes. So if your changes are not reflecting, you have to clear old cache access. So here you could see ls-a, you will see .gsutil. So if I do its directory, okay, so you can remove this cache. Okay, so just first check what is there in this cache. Okay, so it is having the scopes. So here still you can see it is having a read only scopes, it's not updated. For that we have to delete this file. Okay, so let me try that again. Okay, it's still giving error. Let me do ls-a and other cache files are there. Okay, let me remove all. Okay, and let me try it again. Now you can see it's working because the old cache files were not reflecting the correct access. Now if I go to storage bucket and refresh, it will show me the file4.csv as well. Yeah, file4.csv, just time you can see the latest one. So in this way we can read and write file from your GCP VM to a GCS bucket. So this is for a public VM. Now how we can do it for a private VM? So what is mean by private VM? Where your VM won't have an external IP. So let me show you that. So I will go to my VM instance. So currently my VM is having external IP, so it is easy to access a internet or a storage bucket. But if I remove this external IP, and that is the use case for production, you won't have any public IP or external IP. You will always have the VM with your internal IP only. Okay, now if I try to do gsutil ls also, it won't allow me because it won't have access to internet. Now it is not having external IP. My VM will only use internal IP for communication. So it will give an retry error now. So how we can resolve this error, or how we can access GCS bucket when we have private IP only? So here you can do two things. If you need internet access for your VM only for GCS bucket, then you can use a private Google access. So private Google access is used to interact your services, Google services from a GCP VM without any external IP or a internet access. So it will use internal IP only. But your VM need additional internet access to other external site as well. You can use a cloud net. But for a best practice, we'll use a private Google access for this demo. So how we can enable private Google access? So here you could see it is retrying now. Private Google access can be enabled on a subnet level. So open your VM and check which subnet it is being used. So this is using a US7 subnet. I'll open this US7 subnet and I will check if private Google access is enabled. So here you could see the private Google access is not enabled. That's why it is not able to access a storage bucket using the internal IP. So I'll simply turn it on. So even though it is having internal IP, it will access a Google services like a storage bucket, BigQuery, Cloud SQL, or any kind of Google Cloud services. So now you can see after few seconds you will see an result. Even though it is not working now, after few seconds you will see the result here, the list of buckets. It will start working soon because we enabled private Google access. Yeah, now you could see it's working because we enabled a private Google access. And even if I do gsutil any command, it will work now. Whatever we were working earlier, I want to list files from particular bucket, it will show. Yeah, so our VM won't have any kind of a public IP or external IP, still we'll able to access the storage bucket. See here, you see there is no external IP. Now just take an example, we want to use the storage bucket as a file system for our virtual machine. How you can do that? So there is one utility called GCS fuse. So using that GCS fuse, we can mount storage bucket as a file system on our GCP VM. So I'll just show you a GitHub page for the GCS fuse and the steps to mount your GCS bucket. So just open this GCS fuse. Okay, here you will see the steps. So I will follow the steps for configuring or mounting GCS bucket as a file system. So first we have to install this GCS fuse. So as I am using a Debian, I will follow the step for Debian. So here we have setup command which we have to execute. So I'll copy this command. So what this my file system? So if I do df-h, there is no additional disk attached. So instead of a disk, I will use a storage bucket. So I will use set of commands now. Let me clear it, and I will copy this command. Okay, now we can update. Okay, now my VM don't have any external IP, so it is not able to access the internet. So it is trying to connect to this website, but it is giving a timeout because it is not having the internet access. So what I can do, I can enable CloudNet for my VM. So I'll go and turn it on CloudNet, or I can use a external IP. Anyway is fine. So as a best practice, I will use a CloudNet. So this is very easy to create a CloudNet. So I'll just give the name CloudNet, application VPC, region US Central 1, router. I'll just give the name router 1, create router. Here I will give the name router 1, simply create and create it. So it will take few seconds, and this timeout, currently this is unable to fetch or download the packages here, unable to connect to internet. So once our net is created, we can access internet from our VM without any external IP. So if you want to know more about CloudNet, I have created separate video. You can refer that video. So it will take few seconds to reflect CloudNet configuration. It is still having issue to connect. Okay, it started working now. So let me use next step, sudo apt get update install GCS fuse. Type Y, and at particular point it will take a couple of minutes, so you have to wait for that. Okay, now GCS fuse is installed. Now how we can mount our bucket to file system? So I have, so let's do GCS. First create a folder. So I'll create a folder mkdir app here, and I'll give full permission chmod 777 app. Okay, let's see, I have app folder here. Now I want to mount this app to the GCS bucket, which is my bucket test bucket. Let me see the bucket name. BKT test 001. So let me type GCS fuse BKT test 001 and name of my folder, that is app. Okay, so now it is mounted. How I can validate? Just do df-h and you can see. So now even if I go to app and do ls-ltr, it will show all files from my storage bucket. Now suppose if I upload any new file to my storage bucket or I delete, so what I will do, I will delete this agent.csv. So let me delete and let's validate here. So here you can see the agent.install csv was here. So let me do ls-ltr again and that file is deleted. So it is using the GCS storage bucket as a file system. You don't need a GS util also. So you can simply copy. So suppose I will copy cp bqjson to this path, and if I go to this path, so this file is here. So you don't need to use GS util also. Without GS util you can work with this Google Cloud Storage bucket as a file system as you mounted on it your GCP compute engine. So that's it for this video, and these are three different ways where we can use a Google Cloud Storage bucket along with our GCP VM. So thank you for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section and I'll try to answer that. So thank you for watching this video.